Today we've had a huge New World update, but it's a little bit bittersweet because if I'm honest, the content that we're going to be getting up until May is pretty shallow. We had a dev update with this sort of roadmap. Now, this isn't really a true roadmap in my eyes, but it does tell us what is going to be coming, I think, up until Season 5 and including Season 5. And then in May, we're actually going to be getting a major announcement plus a roadmap. Now, that major announcement, if I'm honest, I'm pretty damn confident that that is console. And I think this controller support right here is just one indication of that being the case. It will also probably be an expansion. But for now, let's just talk about what we got. This information, this infographic, it is for content from February until May. Now that tells me two things. Season 4.5, which is basically going to be the intermediary season between Season 4 and 5, that's going to be coming out in February. And actually, in game, we know that the season ends on the 12th of March, so I suspect that the 12th of March is when Season 5 will begin. And then 3 months after March, you end up with May. So this is basically all the content, or not all the content, but this is the major content up until Season 5. Beyond that, we'll probably get Season 6, and then I personally think that the expansion and console will come in Season 7, and if you do the maths, that will be in September. That's the plan, I think, but whether or not they'll hit it, I don't know. So what's actually going to be in these, like Season 4.5 and Season 5? Honestly, not that much actual content, or at least not what we've been told right now. I'll start from the top left, I think it is on screen. That is the Cross-World Expeditions and Improved Group Finder. Now, one thing I want to be making clear to yourselves is that it doesn't mention the cross-server raids. That's just not on here, and it's been pushed past Season 5. We also have new artifacts, which as much as I do enjoy them, I don't really see them as content, they're just items. We also have the seasonal trial, the Winter Rune Forge. Now this is going to be a 10-man. Now this might be from the season quest, but just sort of scaled up for 10 people. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm also not 100% sure when this is going to arrive. Is it going to be in the February patch or is it going to be in the March patch? Because it's not winter in March. At that point, it's actually spring, or pretty much as close to spring as you can get without it being spring. So this could come in Season 4.5, but then if that's the case, what's actually coming in Season 5? Maybe they just didn't put another 5-man expedition on here. They're also going to be finishing off the main story quest. That's basically levels, I think, 55 to 60. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something like Fresh again at that point, but maybe they'll hold that if we do actually go to console. I'm not 100% sure. They've put on here season pass and rewards and seasonal events. If I'm honest, who the hell cares? I mean, I care, but I don't really care. It's just not something I'm that interested in. It's not really content again, if you know what I mean. I mean, seasonal events can be. They are going to have a new seasonal event in February. Something to do with dragons, the name of it escapes me. But, you know, it is what it is. And then the big one in the top right is Gamepad support. Now, many of you will know that I've been talking about this for quite a while, and it is now officially confirmed. Again, I don't know if this is coming in February or March, but at least it's coming. Now, there are some big, huge questions with this one. Now, we don't 100% know how it's going to work, of course, but there were phrases like lock-on and aim assist. Now, honestly, I'm not sure what this means. I think aim assist for ranged is pretty much confirmed. I think the lock-on could probably refer to melee. Melee already has tracking, and I think if you're trying to compete with PC mouse and keyboard, then lock-on might make sense. Either way, the risk here is that controller actually becomes stronger than mouse and keyboard, and that's not, I think, what most people want, because right now most of us are playing with mouse and keyboard. This is definitely something that a lot of people are worried about. There were some prominent musket players in my chat when we were watching this, namely Mailorio, and they're obviously concerned because their skill is being able to aim and hit players. If there's some kind of aim assist or soft lock or something like that, that could really diminish their skills. Oh, well, not diminish their skills, but you know what I mean? It sort of takes away from them a little bit. Now, I don't want to get all hyped up and worried because quite simply, we don't know what it is. We don't know how strong it's going to be. We need to see it in action. We need to see people playing controller versus mouse and keyboard and stuff like that. I was joking around being like, oh, finally I can play musket because my reactions are decent, my pattern recognition is decent, but my aiming is absolutely god awful, right? I just can't aim for toffee. So if I could actually play ranged by playing a musket, but using my controller, it's going to be sort of somewhat positive for me in a little way. But if I'm stronger than people who are just very good, then that would be bad. Now, there's all kinds of questions there because the game's not actually hit scan, it's projectile. Now, I'm guessing it won't factor that in, and maybe that will be the inherent disadvantage. You know, because you can't actually lead very easily, maybe that will put you back, and then when they're stood still, you'll hit. I don't know. We need to wait and see. Like, it's going to be stressful for some people. They're going to be very worked up about it. I suspect in chat, people are going to be very worked up about it. I just said chat, that actually meant comments. But we don't really know what it is. Now, there were some extra information. For example, the seasonal trial, they said that they're going to reduce the number of rewards, so maybe like 1, 2, or 3, and they're really going to significantly boost the rewards, so there's actually a reason to do it. Okay, that makes sense. They did mention that in the 8 new artifacts that there was going to be a great axe, which is going to be like spin to win, basically. They didn't use that phrase, but you're just going to keep spinning, I think, which is going to be fun, I think. There's also a Serenity Enjoyer Gauntlets, which is basically, I think the more heavy attacks you do, the stronger your heavy attacks are, which, you know, I sort of mean that I'm always playing Serenity is doing some huge heavies, but I mean, you know, we'll see how strong that is. I don't know. Until we see it, we have no idea. Sounds fun though, if I'm honest. The thing with Serenity, by the way, which makes it probably not OP, is that whilst it does a lot of damage, quite simply, often you can just dodge. I think at the higher end levels of PvP, you're not really going to be hitting many people with Serenity, but it's great fun in Outpost Rush if you are actually playing melee, which, let's be real, most people aren't these days, they're all playing ranged. And then in the bottom right just here we have ongoing improvements. They said there's going to be a big push for performance. I think that's because this major announcement is going to be an expansion and a console edition. They said they're going to also focus a lot on bug fixing. No disrespect, I think we've sort of been hearing that for about 2 years. Sorry, I had a little chuckle when I said that because it's been about 2 years. And then they said combat balance. Actually, the balance of the game's generally not that bad. We could probably do with like some meta shifts even bigger than what we've had, because maybe it might start feeling a little bit stale. But, you know, I think the balance is generally okay. But if we are honest with ourselves, the main issue here is simply a lack of content. Now, this won't include absolutely everything, but typically they don't surprise us with big content. They surprise us with maybe like smaller things like the music profession. And we got a little bit of a level increase that we didn't expect from the roadmap previously. I'm not expecting anything huge that they've not put on here. For example, as I said, there's no cross-world arena. It could come though, we don't know. They could surprise us with the new Outpost Rush map, although that seems pretty unlikely. There's no proper raids, there's no ranked arena or anything like that. Honestly, the content to most people, I think, now you might not agree with this, but I think most people are finding this content a little bit underwhelming. And honestly, my reaction to this is that I do think the play numbers are probably now going to drop up until about July. That's the trend that we've seen pretty much all the time previously, like for the last couple of years, that's what's happened. And then I think in September, as I said, we will probably get a roadmap, sure. I think we'll also get a console announcement, and I think there will be a paid expansion. The expansion, I think, is probably being worked on by Virtuoso Games, and I think the New World devs are basically doing this. They're doing all the performance updates, they're doing the controller support, etc. And I think they're making it so that the game will run on consoles. And that's it, basically. On stream, I was sort of pretending I needed like an insane dose of copium, because when I saw this, my heart sort of just sank, right? Like, there's just not enough on here for me to warrant you know, making content for this game at a high level. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. There's just not going to be enough, I don't think. Now, we'll see what they bring, like the combat changes, the coding changes and stuff like that do sound interesting. The cross-world arenas, sorry, not arenas, the cross-world expedition does sound good. I actually like the sound of the seasonal trial. Like, there's stuff that I'm going to be interested in, but simply put, it all seems a little bit like surface shallow. Now, I just made a video on my main channel, which you may have seen. A lot of people are agreeing with it. It's sort of like, I call it the unfortunate downfall of New World. I had to think a minute there. I was sort of confused what the title was, and I made it. That's how weird I am. But yes, it was interesting. Now, what am I going to do for Twitch and stuff like that? The simple answer is, today I just finished all the artifacts. I'm going to keep playing New World. I still enjoy the combat. I'm still in the same camp where I want more content. If anything else crops up, then I'll give it a try. The big question here is that going to be that gamepad support. I think there's two main issues. It's the lack of content, which I know some of you are going to feel very strongly, and don't get me wrong, I'm completely with you there. And then even more so than that, a lot of the range players and melee players are going to be very confused or very concerned about what we get with the gamepad support. Is the tracking going to make you stronger than mouse and keyboard? Is the aim assist going to make you stronger with ranged as a controller player? We don't know, right? We need to see that one. I sort of feel like they need to just do a video on that and explain what they're going for, because right now people have no idea. A lot of the time when console support is added and control support is added, then the games do better, right, in general. However, for some games, the controller port ends up being so strong that actually people use that over mouse and keyboard. Now, that's not happened very much. I think it's happened in COD, but there's other games, and I think it's actually also happened in Valorant, but there's obviously games where that doesn't apply. Mouse and keyboard, if there's no aim assist, I think it's just inherently better, right? I don't think most people disagree with that. It's just easier to move. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to start like panicking, but we really need to see it. I'm on the wrong scene, so I don't actually have my Patreon thing here. But thank you to my Patreons. Sorry, I don't have it here. I'm on the wrong thing in OBS and I can't change it while I'm recording, I don't think. So much love to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure you will. And yeah, what a day, what a day. Let's hope for a little bit better going forward. For now, have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.